Our next speaker is Paul Williard. Paul was a graduate student in the 1970s in Gilbert's group.
So to just put things in perspective, I was a graduate student here from 1972 to 1976. And it's just a small story about Columbia first. My first sort of Thursday evening seminar, the country politically was just sort of emerging from the turmoil of the late 1960s. There was still a little bit of turmoil. I recall sitting in that Thursday evening seminar when the streaking happened to be like a thing that went on. And the streakers were sort of doing a circle outside of the seminar room. And I realized that this is a very serious place because the focus of attention was on doing the chemical problems rather than taking a look at the streakers. And then the Gilbert Stork story, to sort of enhance the story that you were told by Francis Hoffman this morning. Gilbert and calendar and a clock were never really friends. And so my experience with that was a very significant IU PAC meeting in Moscow. I think it was probably 1984, 1985, 1986. And so I was a very young assistant professor at that time, sort of around tenure time. And I was rooming with Bruce Lipschitz, who was also the same age. And we were staying in the Hotel Russia, which was one of the few places in Moscow that you could stay, very big, very imposing hotel. And Bruce and I were sharing this room, and about 3:30 in the morning, there's a knock on the door. And so Bruce went running to the bathroom and locked himself in. And I left to answer the door. And so this two very burly Russian men say, you have a very important phone call, and you have to come downstairs immediately. And I, okay. Did my wife die? Is there something serious going on? It's very serious. You have to come downstairs. Okay? I have nothing else to do. So I go downstairs, and they hand me the telephone. So you must take this phone call. I immediately recognize the voice on the other end of the line. It's none other than Gilbert Stork. Gilbert says, "Oh, Paul, I'm so glad I got in touch with you. I was really trying to call Mike John. But I couldn't get mine. And so you've got to go tell them tomorrow that I'm supposed to give the plenary lecture, but I'm in Amsterdam. and you tell them that my plane stopped, but I really got the date wrong." So I go back to the room. I say, "Bruce, you can come out of the bathroom." So I go to the meeting the next morning, get up very early, I go to the meeting. I go upstairs to this room somewhere, God knows where, on the 4th floor, and I get interrogated. I said, "What did you get that phone call last night? What, is Amsterdam?" I said, "No, this is Gilbert Stork, and he's stuck, and he's not going to be able to give the plenary lecture today." And so the end of the story is, I still don't understand all those poor folks who showed up to hear Gilbert Stork give a plenary lecture, and they got Leo Paquette instead. So, an apology to Alice. Alice has also a very famous story. As we were walking around the streets of Moscow, following that, I'm sure the KGB was following both Bruce and I around consistently. And so Alice still thinks that there were these women of ill repute who were kind of following us around and was seriously trying to figure out what Bruce and I were up to. I actually think they're the KGB, thanks to Gilbert.